Jungkook rolled his eyes, pushing his friend away. All of them were a nuisance. Nothing more than, as they kept teasing him about the girl he liked. That's why you should never tell your friends about your crush. Such a headache. It was the festival week. Everyone would get ready to their best in casuals. Some would go ahead and make it formal. Some might even try new looks, 90s punk, or their favorite character remake. It just depended, but over time, it became a beauty show more than a festival. Bro is already a goner for her, and after this, he's going down the drain. His friends teased more. He wondered if he had enough knowledge after watching a tons of criminal movies to hide a body. He cursed at them, showing a middle finger, and walked out. He was dressed in a leather oversized jacket along with white pants, a beanie over his head, and the spiky gelled hair peeking out from the sides. He applied a little blue dye to them, adding more to his cool look. The accessories on his fingers and wrists just spoke perfection. Vian, on the other hand, had a calm and sweet smile on her face as she finished checking herself one last time in the mirror. Vian, if you notice me today, I'll be yours forever. But if not, then I'll finally move on for good. She genuinely wished it was the first case. A lot of people waited for this week so they could attract or confess to their crush. The students practically did everything except for noticing the real purpose of the festival. As she patted her fingers last time on her lips, making sure her pink, peachy lipstick was all set, she stepped out of the washroom. Vine was quite famous as well for her beauty and features. She was also really good in studies. However, she found it hard, a lot of times, getting distracted by her favorite series and books. She fixed her dress, running a hand to remove any crease. She wore a knee length white colored dress, which gave away such elegant vibes. She received a lot of looks as she walked past the hallways. She originally planned a casual fit, but who was complaining? She liked being unique. A smile appeared on her lips as she found people gossiping behind her back, clearly loving the fragile look it gave away. But everyone knew she could be real bad when needed. Her eyes looked for only one person, the one who was always in her imaginations and dreams, the one she wanted to be with so bad, hold his hand, and talk about a long time. Even if not forever, but at least a good time to spend together. She knew how things could turn out, and since the very first day, she was ready for any heartbreak. Her career was important to her, and she was not letting any love problem get in between it. Ryan! Someone called her name, and she turned to look at that person. She waved as her friend came over. Ryan, you look like a baddie, she exclaimed, checking her gothic look. Maria, And you look like that princess everyone wants to propose. The two chuckled as they joked around. Their main target was looking for Ryan's crush. Jungkook stopped in his tracks when he found Ryan walking past him. He might be a little dramatic, but it was like a movie scene where everything slowed down and all he could see was her. They fit perfectly. White versus the black. He ignored everyone who wanted to be with him or talk to him and decided to go after Ryan. But he stopped once she did. The gentle smile on her lips going down as well. Jungkook swore, whoever was the cause of it, he was going to crush him or her with his bare hands. Her eyes were stuck on a couple making out, kissing each other at the other corner of the hallway. Her friend held her hand, trying to comfort her, and Jungkook didn't need to be told what was going on here. He never wanted to see her in pain, but a selfish part of him was glad. Whoever Wine liked was already committed, leaving space for him. Wine felt embarrassed. It was written all over her face, trying to hide from the people who knew about her crush on Jack. Jokso knew, no one knew. But still, she felt like everyone was staring at her, which again, no one was, except for Jungkook. Somehow, she couldn't comfort herself from the non existing prying eyes, wanting to run back home. Her mood was slowly dying, and the happy vibes of the festival were gone. When she pulled her hand out of her friend's grip and tried to run away, Jungkook marched towards her. He was not going to let her ruin her days for a guy who was already belonged to someone else. With a few long strides, he ended the distance between the two, grabbed her wrist and turned her with a sudden pull, and placed his lips on her. He might get a slap for his actions, might get his reputation ruined in front of everyone, might get even laughed at, but he could care less about all that when he wanted to distract her. The moment his lips were on her, he forgot about the whole school. It was just her and him. It might make her mad, but maybe her anger will overcome the sadness and distract her from the pain of heartbreak. He will be successful then. Her hands landed on his chest. He thought he was going to be pushed back, but to his utmost shock, she kissed him back. His heart almost jumped out of his chest. He could have gotten a heart attack for all he knew. He placed his hand on the nape of her neck and deepened the kiss. He didn't need permission for any of it anymore. When she wrapped her arms around his neck and pulled him close to her, being bold as ever. Her other hand pulled on the chain around his neck, and once the two pulled back to breathe, he had a menacing look behind his eyes. Jungkook grabbed her wrist and dragged her out with him. The whole hallway was staring at them. They were popular, and most of the students were almost mad because they dreamed to be with them. Jungkook stopped in the parking lot in front of his car and slowly let go of her hand. Jungkook, I'm sorry about earlier. Wine, be sorry when you didn't mean it. Jungkook, I did. I meant all of it. I'm not sorry for the kiss. I'll never be. I'm sorry if it was not your consent. Wine, since when the big bad John Jungkook got this much manners? Jungkook, I have manners. It depends who deserves to be treated with them. He took a few steps forward. The next moment, she was against a car, and he was trapping her in between his body and the car. His movements were slow. They raised her heart and sent goosebumps down her spine. He held her hand, intertwining fingers with hers, a look deep in her eyes. Jungkook, date me. Give me a chance, and I'll tell you what is the true meaning of attraction and love. Be mine, and I'll protect your heart like my most treasured possession. His every word twisted her heart like no one else could her entire life. His eyes spoke sincerity. There was something wrong with her, a desire to pull him in and kiss him all over again, a desire to be his forever. He stepped even closer and held her chin. Jungkook, the moment you want to walk out of it, you can. But for all I can bet my life on is that that day will never come. Wine, you won't force anything. I'll take it slow. As slow as I want. I can be very moody sometimes, and I put my studies above anything else. If it doesn't sit well, I'll walk out. But if it does, I'll swear every ounce of my loyalty. Wine, if you're okay with it, I'll accept it. Jungkook brought the intertwined hands to his lips and kissed her knuckles. They fit so perfectly with each other. No one needed to tell it to them. Their hearts knew. The electricity they felt and the crazy race of heart was just a small proof of it. Jungkook, I know my feelings, and I know how to reward them as well.